The Cubs are finally back over 500 thanks to another explosive offensive performance in Pittsburgh. Justin Steele gets the win, and the Cubs climb back over the 500 mark for the first time since May 28th. We're going to talk about that and what that does for this team's playoff chances moving forward and more on this edition of the Cubs Baseball Channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get in that comment section. Let us know if you think this team has a shot. But for now, here's your invitation to our show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cubs Baseball Channel. My name's Anthony Pasquale. He is Mick Gillespie, and you can find us on Twitter. He's at Broadcaster Mick, and I'm at Ant_Pasquale3. But Mick, without further ado, the Cubs are over 500 for the first time since May 28th. It's been a long climb to get back here. Almost, 3 months to the day? May to June, June to July to August. So it took us 3 months to get here. But the Cubs are finally back over 500 and probably playing their best ball of the year right now.
Yeah, taking advantage of these bad teams, right? And we talked about how important that was. You got to beat the teams that you're better than, and they're doing that. But the thing about it is it comes down to a sweep situation again. If you can get the sweep today, then all of a sudden now you're 2 games over and you're starting to find some momentum. Now, I don't think that I know you're going to ask me this, probably a realistic team to make the playoffs. But once you get to this point, you're not out of it. You get to 500, you got 3 wild card spots. There's still a chance. Yes, I'm saying there's a chance, but we had to get here first. Now we're here and we're over. Now what are we going to do?
Yeah, and there's only one team above the Cubs. The Braves obviously hold that 3rd spot. Only the Mets are above the Cubs. So the Cubs have definitely leaped over the teams that they've needed to. The question is, are they going to be able to keep doing it? But the Cubs beat the Pirates yesterday. Final score, I believe, was 9-4, 9-5. It got a little bit close in that 9th inning, but the Cubs come away with a win. And that means that they have now won 4 series in a row. You said the sweep's going to be important, but got to give them some credit. They've won 4 series in a row now.
Yeah, look, you love it. But the bottom line is this. Are you doing cosmetic work, or you really think you're going to contend for the playoffs? And could this team make an incredible late season run and by beating up on these bad teams, get some momentum and find the way in? If you're going to do that, you got to sweep. It's great to be over 500. Look great. Last year the Cubs were they were like over 500, right? They didn't make the playoffs. So you got to win and keep winning, and they need the sweep. So now it's time to complete the sweep, and they're going to have to do that against a really good pitcher. But at the end of the day, it was fun watching them just pound the ball for the last couple games against the Pirates. I mean, it's been different guys too. It's not like just one guy. That the team through this winning that they've been doing it with different players. Pete Crow-Armstrong and Miguel Amaya a couple days ago, Sieya Suzuki and Dansby Swanson yesterday. But it's been a collective effort. There's been different guys that have done well, and that to me is a great sign.
Yeah, without a doubt. You're getting contributions from top to bottom, which is all you can ask for at this point in the season. But you brought up a really interesting point about the cosmetic work, right? Like, if you go on this run here and you miss the playoffs, but you finish at 86, 87 wins, there's going to be a lot of people that look at that standings and say, all right, Cubs had a pretty good year. But it really wasn't. It was 1 good month on top of 3 really bad ones. And would that be enough to keep all of these guys in the front office in the same jobs and run those same players out for next year and try to get 3 to 4 more wins like they did this past season? That might not be good enough. So you don't want to get lulled into it too much. You called it fool's gold last year. Mm-hmm. That could be what we're seeing some of. But at the bottom line is it's fun to watch winning baseball, and the Cubs have been playing it as of late. And a big reason why has been the offensive production. And we talked about it. Dansby Swanson had the grand slam 2 nights ago. He homered yesterday. Seiya Suzuki got the scoring going with a 2-run shot of his own. And then the Cubs took some more bases loaded walks, which seems to be a theme against the Pirates, but they end up scoring 9 runs, which means 27 in the last 2 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Look, and I've said it. I mean, I think that this front office is 50-50, but I'm not cheering for them to get fired. I hope that you guys know that. And I know some of you guys are, and I'm not blaming you, being fans, what you want, but I know that these are people that have careers and families and all that stuff. So I'm just not one of these guys that ever says, hey, I want to see somebody get fired. But I do feel like if I'm ownership, I'm going, man, I don't know what the game plan is, and I've got to see that moving forward. And so it is fool's gold, because you look at it right now, they're winning games, but they're not picking up any games in the standings, right? I mean, all the teams that they're trying to chase keep winning. So they're still 5 games back. But like I said before, you get to the 500 mark and then you try to make something happen. The problem is that the Braves are 11 games over and they're the team that's, the third team in. The Padres and the Diamondbacks are really playing great baseball. And I don't think that the Cubs could catch them, so you need the Braves to lose some. You got to pass the Mets still. And then, the Mets are 3 games behind and you don't really have a lot of room because there's not many games left. So the bottom line is, like I said, you have to sweep. You can't go 2 and step 1 back. You got to go 3 and step forward. You got to finish this sweep off.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of work still to be done, but the easiest way to do that is to keep winning series and sweeping series, which doesn't give any games back. But one guy who might also be auditioning for his job next season has been sensational as of late. We've talked about him on every show for the last week. Miguel Amaya was at it again yesterday. And I looked back in games that he didn't come in as a defensive replacement. So his last 5 starts as a catcher, 2 or more hits in all of them. He's been great for the Cubs, and he might be a guy that you start thinking about penciling into that 2025 opening day lineup if he keeps this up, which a month ago we would have thought you were crazy if you said something like that.
It's the best I've ever seen him play. I didn't know that he could do this, and I'm not afraid to tell you, I've never been a big Miguel Amaya baseball fan. I like him as a person. I think he's a good guy. But now I'm seeing it, and it's development. Give the Cubs a lot of credit in Craig Counsell and, the coaches at the big league level and also the competition. When Christian Bethancourt showed up, all of a sudden he came in and he was getting the job done, and if you're Miguel Amaya, you had to feel, and you still should feel, a lot of pressure because when the GM of the team comes out and says, hey, we're going to be looking to upgrade a catcher, that's an indictment of you. And you go back and you put those things together. When did Miguel Amaya start to play well? It goes right in sync with when Jed Hoyer said that. And when Jed Hoyer said that, it was like, hey, we don't have much at catcher. Miguel Amaya probably thought, hey, man, that's my job. And that sense of urgency that I feel like this team's lacked this year as a whole, not lately, but as a whole, was definitely on display. And he's turned it around, so hopefully he continues to excel like he's been doing, because it would be great to see him turn into a really bona fide good catcher.
Yeah, without a doubt. But with the win yesterday, the Cubs improved to 19-26 against the NL Central. This obviously isn't a pretty number, but at one point this season, it was 13-25. So in their last, 7 against the division, they're 6-1. That's a good place to start. That's the easiest way to make up ground. But they're still chasing 9.5 from the Milwaukee Brewers and 5 games behind those Braves in the wild card. But if it's any consolation, they have leaped the Cardinals and are now in sole possession of second place in the NL Central. But you mentioned it. Got to go for a sweep. And this morning, actually, the Cubs have a chance to do it. They play in just a couple hours. 11:35 Central is the start time for this afternoon's ball game. And quite an interesting pitching matchup on deck. It's Kyle Hendricks, who's 3-10 on the year with a 6.33 against Paul Skenes. The Cubs are going to get their 3rd crack at Skenes this season, who is 8-2 on the year with a 2.16 ERA. Obviously, one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year in the National League, was obviously in that Cy Young conversation for a while before his innings limit started to become a question mark. But Hendricks has been pretty good as of late. He's been giving you 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 2 runs. And what you have to think about when you have a matchup like this is it's not Kyle Hendricks pitching against Paul Skenes. It's Kyle Hendricks pitching against the Pirates, and that's all he needs to go out and focus on, the Pirates. And if he can do that, I think the Cubs might have a chance to pull off the sweep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough matchup. I mean, look, I know Skenes has struggled a little bit lately. Maybe the Cubs can just continue to swing the bats. But if they're going to really make a run, then this is a game that they've got to try to win. And if you can win this matchup, and no offense to Kyle Hendricks, but you're going to feel really confident moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see if the Cubs can do just that today at PNC Park and sweep the Pirates and give them a little bit of a punch back for all the times that they were able to best the Cubs earlier this season. But for now, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we have to give you guys some credit, our viewers, for willing this team to above 500. We couldn't have done it without you. It's obviously has nothing to do with the players on the field. It's all you guys. So thank you guys for that. Thanks for all the likes and subscriptions and comments, and for all the follows on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. But for now, hopefully we'll be talking to you guys after a sweep. Maybe we'll bring the brooms out tomorrow. Go Cubs.
Go Cubs.